dispensed with the neck wear because I'm going to be a little bit more active in this video than just talking about stuff, because it's another long show and tell, another dreaded Monday. I feel like I've done a video similar to this at least once, and I'm not going to bother going back and trying to find that number now, but it's springtime, so it seems appropriate because I've already watched a couple of videos talking about similar shirts and whatnot. I wanted to do a bit more of a deep dive on LL Bean, since that's what I have a lot of, but without being only brand specific. And they do still offer, I was just on the website and I didn't want to spend all day on the website, but they do still offer a wrinkle-free version of the classic Oxford shirt in a traditional fit, whereas the one that I would want without the wrinkle, but it doesn't have the same kind of slimy texture as the older ones, so I'm not sure what they changed about that. But I've had this one for a couple of years, and I'm just finally wearing it now because usually the weather goes too hot too soon, or in the autumn doesn't go cold soon enough, and when it does go cold, I'm reaching for flannel shirts instead of more sporty things. But the other version that is the more all cotton version is all they're tapered slim fit for the young men stuff, so can't wear it, thanks, no thanks. I'm still a little round around the middle to squeeze into that. And of course with the large shirts, this is a size large, which I can fit and button because it's not too tapered. The sleeves are still too long because they've never offered multiple sleeve sizes, so I still have a bunch of medium ones that I can't fit into. But it does have the button down, if I can get the right angle, the button down collar as opposed to a button up shirt. And they do still offer some version of this. Some are, I meant to bring the tags and I forgot the tags, but this is called the wrinkle free, and it is cotton without stretch. Whereas the wrinkle, yeah, and so is this. So I still have this light kind of mint green one that I haven't used. This one I got this one was a fitted collar though, not a large, extra large. So I was able to get the adjusted sleeve size and the collar that I can wear with a tie. This one, I can wear a necktie with it, but some of the other ones are too tight. I don't know if they still offer fitted options like this. Like I said, they seem to be phasing out a lot of that kind of thing. And then, of course, I put pinstripes in the title, but of course we won't be talking about pinstripe work shirts, even though some shirts can also come in pinstripes that are heavier duty. And this is usually the point where I get lazy and I didn't bring out the actual OCBD cloth shirts in my nautical playlist or whatever, and instead I'm showing the linen ones or the seersucker ones, these ones being the linen ones. Let's get that out of the way and show how it's similar but not the same thing as the more stiffer fabric or whatever you want to call it. And of course, powder blue being a very common Oxford cloth option, but also similar, again, can be more similar to denim. So we'll talk about the chambray shirts briefly. It's not, okay, so when I did my photos about a week ago, I usually post my weekly shirts kind of vid update of what styles I'm into of the season or the time of the season, weather permitting, that kind of thing. And I was trying to think of a way to do a kind of slightly more scientific head-to-head of the different Bean shirts and then maybe a couple of the other brands as well, just to see which ones kind of wear and how they wear. The whole idea, a little harder to navigate maybe for me than the boots, because like the boots I kind of know about how much I walk per day, whatever, whereas like how sweaty a shirt gets is a little harder to measure because one day I'm wearing a jacket, the next day I'm wearing a different jacket maybe. You know, I try to give them as much of the same conditions as possible, but if there's a 7-degree variance in the weather or whatever, that really throws the things off a bit. So, like I said, the the chambray stuff can be a little bit heavier weight, would be kind of the lazy assessment of what's the difference, you know, overall. You know, the weave is kind of similar. Some of them feel more like canvas than others, I guess. And whereas these, they're not, oh, well, they're not all twill, you know, and I didn't bring in any twill shirts really. Oops. You know, so Iron Snail just did a breakdown on some of the fabrics and what, you know, what of that is applicable. You can look at his video or whatever. Like I said, I'm not going to be that scientific about it. If Bean calls it a chambray instead of an Oxford, you know, they don't necessarily give. Yeah, I think you can call and maybe get more information. But like this one, it doesn't give like the fabric weight or anything. It says fabric and care 100%, 9% Pima, and 31% upland, machine wash and dry. Size and fit just says traditional, relaxed through the chest, sleeve, and waist. Whereas now if I go out of that and back to, let's find the easy care. Okay, comfort, stretch, performance. I don't know if comfort, stretch, performance is different than the ones that I have here. I'll assume that's basically the same, but it says chambray shirt. So I don't, whereas this in still says slightly fitted. So all the comfort stretch, so the chambray ones, like I was saying in my photo, do feel like a heavier fabric, maybe a little more sweaty fabric, but also a higher polyester content than the older ones, because the newer one, yeah, that's the last year. This is an older one that I had before. What is this one? This is the one I was wearing, and it is newer. Okay. Okay, so these three are all the newer ones. This is one of the older ones. So the older ones were a lot more cotton and only 2% spandex. The newer ones are all more 20% polyester almost, and an extra percent spandex. So instead of 20% polyester, they're giving you 1% more spandex. So they're a little bit more stretchy, which I don't really care about. But so I was wearing this long sleeve one, and the fabric does feel different from the short sleeve to the long sleeve. The short sleeve one washed a little bit more, but this one does feel heavier and thicker a little bit. I don't know why. They are the exact same blend. But so yeah, this was a pretty sweaty shirt to wear the other day, whereas I wore this one on a road trip to Texas, and it was humid and it wasn't terrible, but I was mostly in the car, which was, you know, somewhat air conditioned or whatever. But they're calling these chambray, not Oxford cloth, and they do have the button down collars, and they have a rear collar button I was trying to show in the photo the other night, which adds an extra step of when you're trying to tie a bow tie, but makes it also a bit skinny back here to try and fit a necktie. So, but when I was backtracking, but these are definitely not the same as, again, they're older chambray shirts, which they will probably never offer again, so you probably have to find them elsewhere. I had found some at Duluth, and this is another Bean one in a short sleeve. I had found some at JCPenney a few years ago in kind of a lighter weight and whatnot. But chambray doesn't have to be this color blue, but often, or similar color blue or shade of blue, because they're typically trying to look like the vintage navy stuff more than other stuff. Whereas, again, these comfort ones, they're just going all out and making them look more like regular sport shirts or flannel shirts or whatever you want to call it. So I was buying them for these patterns more than just looking for more solids, because I already have other chambray shirts that I don't wear often enough either. But tend to be a rugged fabric. Again, a little more sporty than dressy. And then, of course, this one's one of the newer ones as well. Whereas this, again, the wrinkle-free, just has no stretch. This is a cotton. Again, how much of this has been phased out? Not entirely yet, by them at least. But other companies might have similar things like Orvis or J. Crew or whoever you like. I have, like I said, the Bauer here in a couple different colors. These ones are not. I have one that I have worn. I don't know where it went. It's around here somewhere. But I had bought these a while ago, and then I had see the wrinkle free. Yeah, same thing. Relaxed fit. You can barely read it because of the plastic, but that's what it says up on the tag. And then the composition of the actual fabric is hidden down in the waist area, probably. So that's why I was trying to find that other one. I don't know where it went. But I'm pretty sure this is cotton with a wrinkle free, so similar to what I have on. And these are just the same thing in a different color. Yeah, basically the same shirts in different colors that I just haven't gotten around to wearing yet. So, yada, yada, yada. Whereas the one I've been wearing lately, I didn't actually buy this shirt. I think this came from Target, though. But it is a 40% poly blend. You can see that. Right there. Yeah. And but a lighter weight cloth. It is, I would still call this a chambray, maybe, but it might be an Oxford. But it's still called Easy Care, so it might be just because it has more polyester than wrinkle-free coating or texture or anything. It has that kind of crosshatch weave, though, that you can kind of see. So again, I'm not sure how to characterize that exactly. But it's just a shirt that I got for free, so like whatever. Yeah, just using it as part of the challenge or the rotation or whatever, and see how they all kind of do. Because again, this one being the cotton, this one being the poly blend, and the other one being again a less poly blend. This one. But this texture, like I said, a little more open of a weave, so it might be considered an OCBD, whereas this, again, Bean is calling this a chambray. Not entirely sure. Yeah, whatever. Like I said, we're not going to go 100% scientific on this. And then, of course, but then a more true sport shirt will have this kind of more smooth texture. We don't have a button down on the collar here. I'm pretty sure this is going to be 100% cotton. I don't really want to unfold the whole thing. A lot of guys balk at these kind of patterny, textury shirts now. I mean, you can't really wear a tie with them unless it's a solid tie and maybe kind of a skinny tie. So they're kind of in a no man's land, but I enjoy them once in a while just to have a pattern when especially if I'm not wearing a jacket, but you could still wear a sport coat over this. Again, if you have like a solid sport coat that isn't too bold of a pattern competing with the shirt and you're not wearing a tie because the shirt already has a pattern, so you don't necessarily need a tie, you know, blah, blah, blah. But this one also says stretch. So how much stretch, I don't know. Another one I didn't actually buy. So, and not technically part of the challenge, just another shirt that I can wear this time of the year. The one, okay, so they call it non-iron instead of wrinkle-free, but basically the same thing. This one, again, with the collar a little too small for me to wear neckwear with it, so I'm just going to be using this as a casual shirt made in Bangladesh. Is it cotton on here? This one says 60% cotton and 40% polyester again. So same as the Same as the Target shirt. I think that one was from Target. This one being from JCPenney, right? Probably. So just another poly blend shirt, just another casual thing to throw into the mix. A little bit of an upgrade from that then. I have a bunch, or a couple different ones. The Paul Frederick. Now this one is a true dress shirt. It's too small, so, but I was able to get it more fitted with the 16.5 neck and up in the plastic, non-iron. So there's another non-iron one. I know you can't see that at all because of the plastic, but you see that second tag up here instead of the one down here. It says 2-ply cotton. I can't even read that. Dobby, made in, I don't know, Malagawi or Bangalagui or something. I can't. Malaysia, sorry. But anyway, so this is a herringbone kind of twill weave textured thing. Not the exact same thing as the other sport shirts we're looking at, but just, you know, an option, throwing that into the mix. And similar to that, of course, we have Charles Turret. And I haven't worn this one either, but this one has the spread collar. I really don't like spread collars, but I think they work okay with bow ties. This one's a 17, so I can wear a tie with it without too much trouble. Classic fit, non-iron. So again, another non-iron option. So that's what we're kind of looking at on purpose this month or month and a half or however long we can do this. I won't be able to wear all of these, obviously, in the next month and a half. But we're going to give it a good attempt. Another Paul Frederick in just a similar color scheme. So this one I'm more likely to wear for laundry reasons than the herringbone gray one. The herringbone gray one, a little bit wintry color for me, but I'm doing kind of gray spring this year, doing the light gray. Like I said, show the trousers a bit. The flaps are popping up because the buttons broke off like immediately, and I will most likely turn these pants into shorts once the hems fray a little bit more. Anyway, so it won't matter. I've had them for a couple of years and haven't quite worn them out yet. But again, this is a Paul Frederick wrinkle. What does this say? Maybe it's not wrinkle free this time. The finest long staple cotton made in China, I think. So I don't know if this is a wrinkle free one like the other one. And I don't know if it's 100% cotton, but I assume so. Anyway, so maybe we'll try and wear this one tomorrow. And because like I said, it'll launder fine with this and these trousers and things. 2-ply cotton. So this is the non-iron. This is the same as the gray one. Okay. So a little easier comparison with this and that, but this one does have kind of a smooth texture to it, whereas I'm not sure about the texture of that one. Like I said, we'll break that one open maybe tomorrow and be able to do an update on this next week or in a couple weeks. 100% cotton. What does it say? Of course, I've had these for a couple of years. Machine wash, warm with light colors, tumble dry, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so just a shirt that you can dry clean, but I haven't. I've always washed this, but it does have a more rigid collar, and I've worn this with kilts for like Thanksgiving and that kind of thing. So this shirt does not get a lot of regular daily kind of wear. And this is its counterpart that has also been worn. But it's the Charles Turret and classic fit non-iron. So this should be exactly the same as that blue checkered one that I just showed. I probably bought them at the same time because they always have that like 3-for-1 special or whatever it is. Not 3-for-1, but 3 for $100 or whatever it was. So I'm pretty sure I bought these at the same time and I just haven't worn this one. So yeah, I mean, they feel very similar. The non-iron, you know, but two different companies, obviously. The Paul Frederick, I've actually worn less, probably. I think I've worn this one more. No, don't hold me to that, but again, with the button-down collar instead of the dress collar, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, I haven't, but again, wearing this with like kilts and stuff, so infrequently, haven't washed and worn it a ton. But, and both of them shirts that I can wear around this time of the year. So we'll see. Maybe I'll wear them as just regular shirts in the coming weeks, just because they're already out of the bag. Kilts all that often. I sold one and I still have another. This is wrinkle-free vacation shirt. So this should be pretty much what almost same exact thing as I'm already wearing. But this is what they used to call the True Cool, was the 100% cotton, and now, yeah, they're calling the Poly Blend True Cool. So that was what was kind of making me want to do this video, is wondering what's the difference between cotton and polyester, because like I said, I already wore the polyester one and I know I was sweating in it. Whereas this True Cool one, I hope or assume would be less sweaty and more cool. We'll see. But again, that's another shirt that I kind of got to go with kilts, and I'm not really wearing kilts a ton lately. This is the same as the blue checkered one I showed earlier. It's the same cotton spandex with no poly blend. So this is just an older version of that. In a green instead of a blue. And these are both the wrinkle-free. This one's older enough. Yeah, it's a little bit smoother, kind of shinier, like a grit, kind of a grittiness to it, and kind of a thicker, maybe a little bit thicker feeling fabric. But it does claim to be 100% cotton, same as the one I'm wearing. Just in a different color. And then another one that same thing that I bought around the same time as that one. This one I bought, again, to wear with purple kilts. So this one will be stuck in the bag, whereas that other blue one, I'll probably wear that soon. Whereas this one's slightly different. I've shown this one before. This is the Easy Care back when they were 100% cotton in the sailcloth color. This one keeps getting skipped right when I almost wear it. It comes so close, and then I always switch to flannel shirts right before I grab it. But I also have those twill ones that are kind of heavier too. But it does have a button up. So this is what I wish they still offered, but they probably don't. Because again, it was different colors than just blue, and I probably should have bought more colors of it. And I think I bought it at the same time. Yeah, the tags look the same. I think I got it at the same time as this. So why I haven't worn them is, again, just because I have too many shirts and have other ones that are, yeah, cotton. They had different colors of this. There was a dark wash one and the lighter wash one, and yada, yada, yada. Lighter wash one. Vintage, the third color, and then this was the fourth color or something. Because I'm sure there was a more pale blue version that I didn't get, because why? Once you wash these enough, they turn more pale blue anyway, like JCPenney one. And this was, again, just the short sleeve. Oh, but this was this was Comfort Stretch. This is one of the spandex ones again. Okay, so this one can come out of the bag pretty soon. I'll be wearing that one pretty soon. It's just one of the older Comfort Stretch ones from 2 years ago or 3 years ago or whatever it was. Before they changed added all the polyester in the last 2 or 3 years, whatever it was. So I showed all of those. Okay. So that leaves the true Oxford cloth. We saved it for last. I know. I'm a bastard. Look at me go. I didn't bring all of them, but I brought blue and gray and the solids, the powder French blue, so you can compare. I know I've shown these before. Again, these keep getting skipped right when I start to go really preppy and about to wear them. The weather always goes, no, you're wearing flannel, buddy. But these can also be an early summer look before it gets too hot. But these were the fitted options too. Again, you can see if it'll focus 17 neck, 33 sleeve again, which again, I wish being, yeah, see now I messed up my camera for the whole thing. But I really wish they kept doing that. That's part of the reason I'm glad I'm not wearing these out, so that when I really need them, I'll have them, because they have the fitted neck and the not endless sleeves where I have to do the second button. Because if I do the first button, and it's not worth it for me to take a shirt like this to the tailor just to have her reduce it by like an inch or maybe 2 inches. Whereas some other shirts I have done that with because they were longer. Wrangler, I'm looking at you mostly, but some other ones. And then of course, other popular colors will be yellow or pink. Again, what ones Bean will offer going forward, I don't know, but white. I have the white one in the other room. I didn't bring white ones in here. I also have this Comfort spandex white ones as well that I just got last year. So they'll have probably the more polyester blend in them, I think. I think it was last year. But then, of course, then you can compare. Well, let's grab the blue one instead of the gray one. Although in high school, what I meant to say way back at the beginning of the video that I also saved for now, that I've talked about in other videos anyway, is when I was in, preppy classes or whatever in school, the place everybody liked to shop was Mervyn's the most. And Mervyn's had 2 lines mostly of clothing. There was the Cambridge Classics and the High Sierra. They had other stuff. They had, branded stuff from like Ocean Pacific and Levi's and whatnot. But their own in-house brands was High Sierra was the rugged flannel shirts and that durable stuff. And then the Cambridge Classics was this kind of stuff. So when they went out of business, they were struggling. That was around the same time I discovered LL Bean. So it was similar, but LL Bean had a little bit wider variety of options, an array of like canvas shirts that Mervyn's never had, the chamois shirts that Mervyn's, never had, the boat builder shirts that they need to, but those were more of a canvas than a, preppy cloth. And the flannel shirts, the Scotch plaids and the Rangeleys and whatnot and blah, blah, blah. We're all a better, more premium fabric than the Mervyn's ones, but the Mervyn's ones lasted forever. I still have High Sierra stuff here. Most of them that I found used that actually still fit, as opposed to the ones that I had to get rid of that were too small. But the Cambridge Classics was this kind of stuff, and so I had multiples of this growing up in blue and gray stripes, pink stripes at least once, or red and white, but so the stripe version being these solid ones being ones that I've only collected more recently, these stripe ones being the ones that I had for years and years and years and years in different colors, like I said. So are they pretty, they're pretty similar to the Mervyn's. Again, I haven't always bought only these though, because I have the linen ones and I have the seersucker ones, and I own way too much plaid. I don't know if the plaid is considered cool or anything, but this is another wrinkle-free one though. So again, not the true. So is this not the true cotton without the coating. But these ones had the fitted, again, this one also has the fitted collar and the sleeves. So lucky me. So, which is better? Well, they're all different, slightly different use. If you want to look totally 100% preppy, bar none, obviously the French stripe blue is going to be your go-to, and the solid ones are just nice options. You can also wear this with khaki shorts. you know, and you can get them in a short sleeve version, or you can roll up the sleeves and look super preppy. Whereas the chambrays are going to look a little more rugged, a little less meant to be worn with a tie, meant to be worn with a jacket. You're not really obligated to wear this with a tie, and not necessarily meant to wear it with a jacket. And for some of them do have that feature, which again makes it harder to put a necktie on there. Whereas most of the dress shirts won't have that, and the preppy shirts won't have that. That type of thing, because yeah, again, it adds a wrinkle to your wrinkle-free shirt. Bump. So yeah, just something to notice, to consider, you know, when you're trying to figure out what you're going to style it with or how you're going to pair it. You could leave that unbuttoned if you really wanted to wear a tie and a jacket, because the jacket would just cover that part of the collar. Nobody's going to notice. But again, not the type of shirt you're necessarily supposed to wear with a tie or a jacket. Either or, but you could still wear it with a jacket and no tie, or a tie with no jacket, depending, or you could wear it with a leather jacket and a tie if you want to look like Joe Hackett from Wings, you know, because that's, again, I did a whole video about wanting to look like movie characters and such for aviation flair purposes or whatever. Okay, so I don't know. I did leave the chat open, but I didn't get any questions. I don't know if there's anything else I didn't cover. Like I said, I'm going to try and wear a fair portion of these in the next couple weeks, you know, kind of back to back, and kind of see my impressions or whatever. Even though I've owned shirts like this for years, I've never really kind of, again, tried to make it a challenge or a, you know, what do I like better about this shirt kind of thing. You know, I never really thought about it. So, you know, as such, now, I'm going to try and put a little more thought into it when we do an update. So we might get 1 or 2 updates out of this, but like I said, the weather could go super warm anytime now, and I won't be wearing much of these at all. I'll be wearing, again, why he collects linen shirts, film at 11. Yeah, because I was already wearing linen shirts in the last few weeks before the cool down happened again this weekend. So we'll see. So as always, I did activate the buy me a coffee feature if you're feeling so inclined. And we do have a comment section where I welcome questions. You know, hopefully it's something I can answer, and not just weird statements or whatever. And of course, as always, boycott Tinder. I've been really pushing this in the last few weeks. Toxic employees. Other people have done videos like Matt Walsh recently about, you know, consumer fraud kind of issue, but none of them is bringing a class action suit or anything. They're just whining about it on YouTube. So I don't know what good that does. So yeah, still vote with your dollars if you're actually looking for true romance or an actual relationship, instead of just flushing money down the toilet on an app that does not care about you or your romantic future, and employees who are just collecting a check and might be single and don't even like men. So there is that. And yeah, I might be doing a video about that in the next couple days again. I don't know. Maybe I'll wait and see who watches the last one. And this week will be the 8 boots in 8 weeks challenge update. We'll get around to that probably Thursday, maybe Friday. And so you can tune in for that. And I don't have another scheduled video before then, but I might do another unboxing of the Bailey hat, because that might come a day early. So tomorrow or next day, I might do a hat video again. Okay. Thank you for tuning in.